Hey guys, welcome back to another UDT Fundamental Game Mechanics tutorial. In this episode, I'm going to be showing you the fundamentals of health mechanics and how to set up a basic health system. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm just going to go ahead and clone a basic first-person character I have set up. I'm going to call this health system. Now this will end up being a couple episodes long. The first one I'll show you how to set up a enemy that when you walk into it deals damage to you continuously until you leave its hitbox. And then in the second episode I'll show you how to set up a Ragdoll as well as the UI for a death system. Hey guys, I just wanted to let you know that I forgot to mention that although in this video I end up using a cone shape like this, you can use this code with anything. So for instance you were making a game and you had a gun and you wanted to use this code. At the moment, the way this is set up is it damages it multiple times, whereas if you have a gun, you only want to damage them one time. So you would simply take on begin overlap with the collision on the box, and then you would insert this right here, which is the exact same code from up here, but it just removes the branch and is overlapping. So as you can see, this is all it is here. It's a delay, get player character, cast a third person character, and you get the health, you clamp it, you minus health, and then you set it. It's the exact same that I show in the video. So you can use this for anything, but for demonstration purposes, I was just showing you how to do it the more complicated way, where you damage it multiple times. Also, if you want to change the period of time that it takes damage, you can change it on here. So if I set this to 1 now, and then I come in here and press play, the damage will be a lot slower. So you can see now it's a lot slower, whereas if I put that back to 0.4, and then press play, it's a lot quicker. Anyway guys, that's all I wanted to let you know, so I'll continue the video on. Hey, so to start we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up our third person character. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a new variable. I'm going to call this health, and then I'm going to make it a float, and then I'll compile save that. And then we're going to make our enemies. I'm going to create a new blueprint, make it an actor. I'm going to call it Pt.1 enemy, and then we'll open that up. I'm simply going to just make this a cone, so it kind of looks like a spike. And then I'm going to give it a hitbox. I'm going to be lazy here, and I'm just going to use a box collision. And then I'm just going to extend it out to the size, and then make it a little bit bigger. There we go. So all this is going to do is this box here, whenever I walk inside of it, they will then damage me. I'm actually going to make it just a touch bigger, just so easier to walk into. And then I save that. We're going to go into the event graph for that. So under the event graph, we need to do a couple things. We're going to make an event tick, and then on that event tick, whenever it detects us inside of the overlapping of this collision, it's then going to deal damage. So to do that, I'm going to select my box collision up here. And then in the bottom right, I'm going to get on component begin overlap, and then I'm going to select it again, and I'm going to get on component end overlap. And then I'm going to make a variable. We're going to call this is overlapping, and then I'll compile save, and then we'll drag that out. We'll set that, connect that up. And then for the first one, because we will be overlapping, because it's begin overlap, I'm going to set that to true. And then the second one we'll leave as false. And then we need to get a reference so that it's only the character, our player character, sorry, that can trigger this. So we're going to cast to third person character, which is the name of the character that I'm using, so you have to use whatever name you have. And I'm going to make 2 of them, and then connect them both to other actor. And then I'm going to go ahead and name this, so we'll call this set is overlapping to true or false. And then I'm going to come up here and make an event tick. I'm going to drag out from that and give it a delay. I'm going to set this to 0.4. You can set this to whatever you want later on. I'm then going to make a branch. And then I'm going to connect is overlapping. Now if I'm going too quick for you guys, don't worry, I will explain everything once I finish doing the basic setup. So if you get lost on anything or confused, as long as you follow along and do what I do, I can then explain it at the end so that you can keep up. I'm going to go ahead and copy my cast to third person character again. I'm going to connect that to true and then drag out and go get player character. Okay, so now what I need to do is I now need to get my health variable that we made back here, and then I need to drag that out. So we're going to select as third person character and type get health. And then from get health, we're going to make a clamp on float. Then I'm going to leave the minimum as 0 and set maximum to 100. This will be whatever health you want your maximum health value to be, so for me I'm just going to do it 100. And then I'm going to drag out, and we're going to go set health this time. Connect that one, and then connect the return value to it. And then I'm going to go ahead and name that. We're going to call this every, 0.4 seconds. Player stands in collision box, deal damage. I actually forgot one thing. Just realized we haven't made it do damage yet. So I'm going to drag out my return value and enter minus float. And then connect that. And then this will be however much damage you want it to do. So I'm going to leave this one at 20. And compile save that. Okay, so what's happening here is on the event tick, it's constantly pumping out this event tick here. And then we've got it set so it does it every 0.4 seconds that it'll play through this delay. And then it checks is overlapping and see if it's true. Now we've set this down here, so every time we walk into our collision box, which is this one here, this big square around it, it will then set this to true. And then every time we leave it, it will then set it to false. So once we're in it, it'll set it to true, and as long as we stay in it, it'll stay true the whole time, which means it'll fire off the rest of this. Now what this does is it gets our health from our third person character, and then it makes sure that it can't become any smaller or any bigger than 100. Then it sets that, it takes 20 away from that, and then sets our health to that. So basically what this does is that as long as our player is standing inside of the hitbox, it will remove 20 health from the health variable, and then set it. So that's our basic character damage function setup. I come back in here, I'm going to set the health to 100. Yeah, we're now going to set up our UI. So to do that, I'm going to go back to the main menu here. I'm going to select widget blueprint on user interface. I'm going to call this WB, which stands for widget blueprint, and then underscore. We'll call this. Oh wait, actually, I already have one set up with a little crosshair, so I'm actually just going to rename this one. We'll call this WB underscore HUD. If you don't already have one, then just do what I was doing before, except call it WB HUD, and then you just double click and open it. You won't have this crosshair, but other than that, it makes zero difference. We're then going to drag out from the top here. We're going to select the progress bar, and you can put that anywhere you want. And then we're going to select anchors, and then we're going to put it at the bottom left. Then reset its position X and position Y, so it's down in the corner here. And now we want to align it to 0.5 by 0.5. Sorry, we don't align it. We change its position X and position Y. So we're going to set position X to 75, position Y to negative 100. And then I'm going to resize it to 200, then leave 40. And then I'm going to change the color here because it's a health bar. We're going to want a green color. So I'm going to go for a kind of mid-tone of green. So now you can see if I move this percent bar, it fills up. Now I want mine to go left to right. If you want it to go right to left, then you can just simply change it in this drop down tab here. I'm going to leave that as 0. I'm going to select bind and then create binding. Now over here it'll say get percent underscore 0. I'm going to change this to health bar percentage. And then I'm going to drag this out so I get a bit of space. And then we're going to go ahead and cast to our third person character. Again, this is the name of whatever character it is you're using. I'm going to go get player character to get a reference to it. And I'm going to drag out from here. I'm going to go get health. And then I'm going to divide that by a float. I'm going to set that to 100 and then connect that. Now, basically what happens here is I'm casting to my third person character, getting a reference for it. And then I'm getting the get health variable that we made under the third person character. And then I'm dividing that by 100, because if you go back to our designer, you can see when we move our percent around, it goes from 0.0 all the way up to 1. But our health currently is from 0 to 100, so we have to make that a decimal number. So by dividing that by 100, that does that for us. I'm not going to bother naming this one, you can if you want, but it's just one little thing, so. Now we come back under our third person character, and we need to make a create HUD. I'm going to make this under a function. I'm going to call this create HUD. And then I'm gonna make a widget. Create widget. And then I'm going to call this one WB HUD, which is what I called my HUD element. And then we're going to go add viewport. And connect that. And then we come back to our event graph. And then under event begin play, we drag out our create HUD and then connect it. If you don't have an event begin play, it's just event begin, and then it'll come up. So now, once we come into the game, you'll see that we now have a health bar. So if we drag out our enemy that we made, and then somewhere in the ground, there we go, looks about right. And if I walk into its hitbox, you'll notice that in the bottom left, I start taking damage. Now currently I don't have any death set up, it's just I take damage. So in the next episode guys, I'll be setting it up so that we die, we'll have a ragdoll system set up, so when we die it will switch to a different perspective and you'll be able to see your ragdoll body fall onto the ground. We'll also have a death screen that pops up saying game over, and then there'll be a restart option that'll restart the game. So if you want to see that, go ahead and click the link down below in the description, it'll be right there. Anyway guys, if you have any other ideas for videos, let me know down below in the comments, but other than that, that is it for today. See ya!